So I'm Neil Minshall. I'm a specialist training instructor at a company called Hydrogen Safe. So we create and deliver safety training, mostly around hydrogen. The hint is in the name, but we are looking at doing both off-qual regulated accreditation, but also looking at doing like CPD and trying to branch out so that everyone can understand what hydrogen is and how it's going to be used in the future. So our interest to begin with was obviously hydrogen itself. A lot of the times when people think about it, they automatically go to its safety side and get a little concerned. Now, when we're doing courses, we can't necessarily take a lot of things in person and just hand things over due to them limited safety options. So the VR was something we were starting to look into of whether we could show that idea and get a bit more of a hands-on experience with testing properties or doing experiments that we might not be able to do in person or on, say, a remote training course. My initial plan was to try and sort of bridge the gap between things that you might have done in school in your science lessons compared to applying that in person in the industry side. So I started quite simple with my prototype, and it was the idea of being in a lab and carrying out a process called electrolysis. So trying to split water using electricity. Now, people learn that all the way in sort of year 7 and 8 in the UK in their science lessons, but it's still the same basic process that we use in industry to generate hydrogen now. So allowing them to just go back to their see the basics, being able to do that hands on in a lab, collecting the equipment, setting it up, understanding what like safety PPE you might need to carry out the simple experiment meant that you could sort of apply that knowledge without us just talking through and keep telling you the same stuff over and over. Yeah, so obviously I kept it quite simple during the prototype phase in the creative program, mainly on the basis of see where it goes, see how it builds in, see whether it was possible. Because again, I know when I put the application in, you guys were like, "This sounds great. Like, please try and figure out if you can do it," sort of thing. So in looking at that, it would be something I'd be interested in looking to carry on, especially because then we've now got that outlook and we have that option to go, well, you know what, that was great. Let's do a bit more. Let's get back in contact and see where we can add that, make it more difficult, make it have different scenarios, for example, that could be used in other courses. So in working the way through it, it's the thing that I made within the Zoe app. Like some people that have been in it for ages and actually do major design and have done it for years might look and go, "Oh, it's quite simple. It's very basic. It's things through there." But the fact that I didn't have any previous coding experience, didn't have anything planned through. Like I used to be a science teacher, so I knew what I needed. I knew what steps I wanted. It was just trying to implement that, and it gave you that sort of easy gateway into being able to carry it out yourself. And because you were in control of what you wanted, you could make sure that it was exactly the steps you needed or guided learners the right way through your experience rather than having to either pre purchase pre made things that aren't quite right and making it work or go into them and asking for something bespoke that actually, as soon as you mention that word, they tend to go, "Oh yeah, yeah, we can make something and go through." So I mean, that is definitely that nice option. It definitely had some challenges, but not that couldn't be worked out with either dropping the guys a message in the sort of creator chats or just playing about with it. I mean, the nice bit is, and it's things that I've done before where I like to try and sort of work it out and quote unquote break things or try to unbreak things when you've done it that way. So trying to figure out interactions and how things might go. Um, when we went through all the different sort of meetings and the different showcases to show the processes, it was nice that I'd already figured out some of the basics on my own just by having a play about. But then, like Sil, for example, showed me how to polish up some of the bits as they worked through, which I'd more or less done, but in about 5 steps, not two. So it saved a bit of time on that ongoing development versus weird round the houses options that I'd maybe figured out myself. Yeah, so I know, especially like within our company. So I took my prototype whilst I was building it into like the office and gave people a chance to give it a try that way. And we've got quite a diverse team where we have like ex teachers who know quote unquote the science, or we've got like the business development side and things there that maybe know some that they've learned through but haven't had that sort of experience. And a lot of the feedback was like, oh, like this is cool because I feel like I've done it. It's not just a picture that you've seen, or it's not something there. Those interactions and that hands-on setup really gives that extra understanding of how it goes together. And you'd still need like us to do the course around, for example, but that little section is a little more memorable than just say a picture on a PowerPoint or a random description that doesn't quite have the vision to be able to go between. So it's definitely a great one. And I said the office people in the office liked it, and I imagine that should we implement that in the future, some of the learners will love it too.